And if I took that diuretic, I would be dead, 100%. What is up? It's your boy, Johnny SHREVE, IFBB Pro, Mr. Tell Like It Is. Every once in a while, in the midst of all of the videos that are promoting doing steroids, especially at the young demographic, the young age, we come across a video that's far beyond its years and from an unlikely source. Anthony Mantello has quit bodybuilding. And I know this is probably a couple weeks old now, but if people haven't seen it, they need to see it because this video is absolutely priceless. How often do we get to watch a kid pursue his dreams of becoming a professional bodybuilder, watch it documented, he finally make it there, because I followed the entire thing, finally makes it there, gets to the pinnacle, gets his pro card, the emotions, the excitement, what's next, and then quit. It says a lot. It shows a lot of maturity on his part. It shows a lot of life lessons that we can learn from someone that young. And when it comes from someone that young, it becomes something people can listen to or digest at that level, because sometimes when I say things, it's like, yeah, you're the old guy that's already competed before, and you've already had a career. You've been doing it for 10 years, as opposed to someone who we've been probably waiting to watch finally become a pro and just like see what's gonna happen next. How's Anthony gonna do? Because Anthony Mantello is a good athlete. That's a good physique. That kid had genetics to be a successful, competitive IFBB pro. And for him to quit says a lot. So there's some things I want to go over that he said that I think are very important, and then also kind of give my point of view in terms of why I quit. And some of the things that he's saying that I completely agree on, that for those who are maybe starting their fitness journey in terms of wanting to compete, or you want to compete and you want to, think about starting steroids, this is the video you need to watch before you actually make that move. So let's get into it.
Post, last video you're 240, you're excited, you're gaining all this weight, what's going on, dude? Then you go ghost for another 2 months, you don't post, you're not consistent, you're confused. You're not wrong. I was genuinely confused too. Didn't know what I was doing with myself. I was 240 fucking pounds. 240, that's a lot of weight for my body to hold.
We all remember, like, this guy started off young, too young to start steroids, in my opinion. But we saw him make progress. Like, he's bigger than I am right now. In this video, he's 30 pounds bigger than me. I used to be 265, 270 pounds. I understand what it's like to stop and then eventually be on the route to losing all of the gains that you worked your ass off to accumulate.
Yes, I'm quitting competitive bodybuilding. What are your thoughts on that as a girlfriend who's still competing for a blue card?
Well, I'm happy for you because it was taking over your life.
You see the way she responded, she didn't take no time, but to be like, thank you, God, because some things you're not gonna really realize for those who are probably already competing, but if you're starting to compete and you decide to get into this and you wanna do steroids and whatnot, if you have a really supportive partner, your supportive partner will sit there and really not say much. They'll do what they're supposed to do and they'll support you, but you might not even realize and see how much is actually affecting their life. Bodybuilding is an extremely, extremely selfish sport. It is, right? Whether you want to call it a sport or extreme pageantry, regardless, you're competing and it's you and you only, and everything revolves around you. Your diet, your training, your cardio, you have to put hours into it, and you start to be so self-absorbed into your journey that you don't see the things around you and how much you're affecting those people around you. So just like the opening of this video, you see Anthony's girlfriend be like, thank God you're done. But again, we have to understand that you have to be aware of your surrounding and the people that it's gonna affect, because your attitude, your health, all things that the closest person to you will see firsthand.
I'm on TRT dose at the moment. I love how I look. I seriously do. I love how I look right now. I love how I look in the gym. I don't have this crazy fullness of bursting delts and pumps and strength. Trust me, my strength plummeted.
Now, let me tell you this right now. When it comes to every bodybuilder, I don't care who you are, and everyone can agree with this, and maybe someone will deny it. When you finish your career as a bodybuilder, especially if you're a pro, and maybe even amateur too, but when you finish career, you retire as a bodybuilder. You don't retire because you've competed your years out. You've competing so much, and now it's time for you to move on because just like football, you're in your 30s. You're probably not going to be a running back. No. And bodybuilding, when you decide that it's time's up, it's because number one, you're noticing your health is really taking a hit. Two, something probably happened to you that made you be like, yo, I gotta stop. Or three, you had a scare, and that's when people stop. They don't quit on their own accord. Some people do, but even at that, it's inspired by probably seeing something happen early enough to be like, if I go any further, this can be bad for me. And that's basically what happened with me. If it wasn't for the pandemic, my goal was to put on another 5 to 7 pounds up from this. In this picture, I was 240 pounds. By the time I was on stage, around 235 pounds. I went down to compete in a lower class during the pandemic because at that point, I was like, why am I even taking steroids or doing this amount anyway from I can't compete, couldn't travel. And then as soon as their travel ban was off, I was gonna compete. And I was like, you know what? I'll do this the healthy way. I'm gonna lower my dose. I'm gonna try and get into the 212 division. Unfortunately, on the pursuit, I got the absolute leanest I could ever be. It was my first time I prepped myself. I got inside out peeled. I was going to Greg's house every week and doing my body fat. I was getting lean. All of a sudden, I catch a stomach virus and I collapse on the way out, on my way to the airport, about to compete. A couple things happened. I was supposed to start my diuretic dose that morning. I ended up going to the hospital because I had a stomach virus, and I was in the hospital, in and out, rushed there, dehydrated. I was getting IVs pumped in me left and right. And because my body fat was so low, the virus just had to run its course. I couldn't recover because my body fat was too low. The pursuit of trying to do this as healthy as I can, put my body fat levels as I wanted to, so low that I couldn't defend myself from a virus. And when someone in a normal virus, stomach virus would be maybe like a 24-hour thing, ended up being like 3 days. And if it wasn't for me getting sick, and if I took that diuretic, I would be dead, 100%. And I remember my daughter, 3 years old, rubbing my back. I'm like, Daddy, it's gonna be okay. And I remember being like, I'm like, what am I doing? And I'm just like, you know what? No, I'm done. And I stopped, and I quit. I quit bodybuilding that year. I quit doing steroids, I quit bodybuilding that year. Then obviously, 2 years later, I did the Mass Olympia and I did it gear free, but that was when I wanted to stop. I was like, I saw the signs, and then through that process and seeing those signs, it also gave me like these memories of seeing like the amount of water retention I would have in my legs consistently every prep, and just thinking, I'm just holding water. Meanwhile, there are massive signs of edema. We go through prep after prep, year after year, in somewhat of denial. We'll see certain guys unfortunately pass away and we'll say, no, not me. My dose, they were probably doing way more than I was. We'll give ourselves the excuses to continue over and over and over again until we get ourselves a scare, and then we say, I wanna live longer. I wanna see my daughter grow as old as she possibly can. And again, when it comes to not doing anything, most people, when they go into bodybuilding, they go into it at such a young age sometimes, but even if they're not getting into it at a young age, they get into it with not having much of a plan of what they want to do with their life. So this thing becomes the center of their universe. I remember talking to James Hollingshead at one of the Olympias, and he's like, you know what? When this is all said and done, we'll probably have 5 minutes of memories of our entire career. And I was like, wow, that might be the most accurate thing I've ever heard. All those little memories that you had accumulated over the years, they're not ours. They're not like full days. It might be a moment you had with a buddy, or something that happened on stage, or a memory of something, all accumulated into this tiny little capsule of time when you've probably spent hours, days, weeks, months, years, especially doing all that for one prep to be on stage for maybe 2 minutes.
That's when he really started to take care of himself. Really started to take care of himself. He does skincare every day now. He wakes up, he has a whole routine. He does his hair every single day. He gets himself actually ready for the day versus getting up, swallowing a ginormous meal and going to rot on the couch for hours on end until his next meal. And then he goes and trains, and then he gets home from training, and then he eats another giant meal, and then he rots on the couch for literally the rest of the day. That's a horrible routine to have as a human being. And I'm happy to finally see that he's in a position with himself where he can actually pour more energy into himself and his own well-being versus considering his well-being how he's doing in bodybuilding.
And that is a crazy point that she made, because you can see how she probably had this just swallowed and buried down while she was a great supportive girlfriend, while she let Anthony reach his goal. Because let's be serious, if you have somebody next to you and you've reached the goal, the big reason why is because of your support. They were there for you to help you, to be their support and encourage you to, be there when you're down yourself, because this sport is mentally ugly. When it comes to the bigger picture, the thing that actually makes the biggest difference in your life in terms of quality of life is your mental health. And I'm looking at Anthony Mantello saying what he's saying and bringing this stuff up. It's like, these are those conversations that have to happen on a regular basis, not the look at me, I'm a young guy doing trend, I'm jacked now, I'm about to go to the Olympia. And as inspiring as that may sound, there's a massive component of this that's never talked about. The ugly side of bodybuilding, where people lack in their mental health. They don't prioritize it. And it gets beat up on a day-to-day basis, week-to-week basis. And after every prep, you're left with more scars and more scars. Now, I'm not trying to say bodybuilding is an ugly thing and stay away from it. I'm saying that you need to pursue this with caution, extreme caution. Before you even decide that you're gonna compete or step on stage, you have to ask yourself the question, am I okay with who I am? Do I love myself? Am I okay with the size I am right now? Am I okay with how I look right now? Do I love who I am right now? Like totally and completely. And be honest with yourself. And if you kind of have to think about it, don't compete at all. And again, when it comes down to it, compete. Do it natural, right? And I'm not saying you don't have to do it enhanced, but understand that there's a greater risk when you do enhanced. That you have to think about your mental health first, you, and then those who love you, that are around you second. You have to.
You just shun that out because all you hear is you're such a hard worker, you're so disciplined, like I couldn't do what you do. But in reality, honestly, you're addicted to the high of steroids. There's not a direct high when you inject your PEDs or whatever it is, but those compliments are a part of the high. Your pump is a part of the high. I bet if you take PEDs and when you come off cycle, you say to your buddies or your own brain, you go, I cannot wait to go back on. And you're stuck in this cycle of just wanting to go back on PEDs. You feel like Superman. Your muscles are beautiful. Oh my gosh. And it's a trap.
And I see how this becomes a trap because you're complimented all of the time. Someone sees the gym, oh my God, you're a walking billboard of dedication and discipline for the most part when people see you. So everyone's always saying, you look good, you look amazing. Oh my God, you look awesome. I can't do this, I can't do that. And you're getting addicted to it. The dopamine release you get from that, positive reinforcement that what you're doing is right because all these compliments are coming. So it's just justifying you doing it more and more and more. And when it comes down to it, taking it from a recovering addict. When it came to this, bodybuilding, especially doing steroids, is just finding another way, another addiction. You might not be addicted to doing the steroid itself and injecting yourself, but you're addicted with the results. And that's one of the biggest things that's hard for people to understand when they're done. It's, I can't lose the results. I can't lose, the compliments and the acknowledgement and the rewards and people seeing. This is a glorified hobby. It is. As much as I am a professional bodybuilder, I still have to pay to compete every year. If it wasn't for sponsors, I'd have to pay for all of those things. So when you get into this, you have to understand a few things. Number one, how's it gonna affect your life mentally? Then how's it gonna affect your life financially? Then how's it gonna affect your life career-wise? Do you have those things planned out at least? And if you don't, then I strongly suggest that you sit down and do that before you decide to just pursue this. Because if you do decide to, without thinking of what's next or what can be, or prioritizing mental health, or prioritizing a career, you're gonna finish this sport, this competition, this lifestyle with nothing. Great video from Anthony, great message. Again, I'm not trying to scare you guys to not pursue. Do what you want to do. Just understand you have to prioritize this thing first. Anyway, I thought I'd give you guys my opinion on that. And if you're starting your career and you want some good direction, you want someone to help guide you the right way, the healthy way, hit the link in the description below, JONNISHREVEFitness.com. Fill that application, get on a 50-minute video call with myself. We will go over fitness goals and see what we can achieve together. Hit on my site, JONNISHREVE.com, for all things one-time plans, ebooks, training splits, merch, the works, phone consults, video consults, JONNISHREVE.com. And guys, use my code Johnny10 for 10% off BlueStarNutraceuticals.com. Anyway, until next time, you know how it is. Iron sharpens iron. Progressive overload your life. In the meantime, keep dream chasing. Peace.